Hey there guys, Pinobi here bringing another Pokemon Narrative Wi-Fi battle. This is going to be a 5th generation NU tier match versus somebody by the name of the Shadowfication. Their channel link is in the description if you want to check them out for any reason. Before we get into the game, before even the team preview, I have a quick question for you guys, my manga lover subscribers out there. Who is your favorite mangaka, manga artist slash author? My answer will be at the end of the video, so if you want to check that out, then stay tuned, and feel free to drop a comment with yours, because I'm interested. I love manga, I love to see what your guys' opinions is. So you can see the team preview here. I'm using a variation of the same team that I've been using, that Mesprit, Garbodor, Licky core that I described in my team making video, supplemented with Leafeon, Haunter, and Basculin. My opponent has some big threats in Jumpluff and Regice, gonna have to play around those and see how it plays out. So let's go ahead and get into it. Leading with my Mesprit, figuring out he's going to lead with his Jumpluff, and since I can cripple it with the Trick, since I really don't want to get Sub-Seed stalled, that's going to be my opening play, and it is my opening strat. And it's going to work out amazingly considering that he does decide to stay in. Now, if he had stayed in and gone for the Substitute, that would have been ideal, but he is going to go for the Sleep Powder, which was a good play for him. Maybe he thought I was going to U-turn out or something, and then he'd be able to get something asleep. Maybe he thought he would just straight up outspeed, and I'd go for Stealth Rocks, and then he'd be able to stop me from getting that up. Either way, it's a pretty decent play for both of us. We're both going to cripple one of the opponent's Pokemon, and we're both going to make our double switch, him because he doesn't want to succumb to a loss via Sleep Claws, and I don't want it to stay in as Sleep Fodder. So, or I'm going to switch out as Sleep Fodder. And he's going to hit me with a Frustration as I kill myself with a Double Edge. Now, I actually carry the Adaptability ability instead of the whatever it is that prevents recoil, so that's the reason for that. So on the double down, I go into Haunter as he opts to go into Jumpluff. I see that he goes for the Bounce as I try to hit him with a Sludge Bomb. Now, I could have just stayed in and taken that, considering that a Stab Sludge Bomb, super effective, should do way more to a Jumpluff than a Bounce should do to me. But I didn't want to risk it, not sure what kind of set he is, decided just to go into my Garbodor and double switch back to my Haunter, predicting his Marowak switch, which was a pretty good play for me. It is going to give me a little bit of an advantage, keep the pressure on him, play a little offensively here. And not sure what he wants to go for, so I just went for the sub. Maybe if he was some sort of Sword Dance set without coverage for something like Haunter, maybe with just like Edgequake as attacking moves or whatever the case it may have been, it could have been good for me. But he does carry the Fire Punch, but I do decide it's going to be a good trade for me, so I go for the Shadow Ball. And predicting his switch to Chatot to get the immunity, because I noticed that he did have a normal type on his team, I am going to go straight for the Sludge Bomb. And due to my modest nature, whereas most sub-Haunter are timid, I am going to snag a nice KO, which is going to be great for me. So he brings in his Regice, his special wall, and I'm not sure what kind of set this is. I figure the best option for me is just to go to my Lights Out, go ahead and scout his set, as well as hit him with a knockoff, just to cripple his Leftovers recovery, since the only recovery he can really get outside of Leftovers is Rest. And after seeing Substitute, I'm thinking that this is probably not the Rest Talk set. At first I thought it was probably a sub-Charge Beam set, if he even gets Charge Beam, I don't really know. But no, it's just going to be some sort of sub-variant, not sure exactly what his last move pool item move is going to be. But he does get a Freeze Hacks. I'm not really concerned with it, considering that without the recovery, I'm confident that I can win a 1v1 eventually. So I went for the Wish and got a first turn Thaw, which is really lucky for me actually. And I'm going to take this opportunity to pass the Wish off to Haunter as he used his free switch, thanks to the fact that I was frozen, to go into Jumpluff. Now, I'm going to do this time what I should have done last time, which is just stay in and go for the Sludge Bomb, considering that, seeing how much damage it did to Garbodor, I know that my Haunter, even with its very minuscule HP and defense stat, can take one of those, then bounces, and hit him with a Sludge Bomb. Now, due to the fact that I hit him with Poison Hacks, I can just go for the Substitute safely on this turn, knowing that if he does stay in, he's locked into Bounce, and with a Substitute, he'll die off to Poison damage. So that's going to be my game plan there. And it's going to give me a chance to scout his Regice set just a little bit more, although he doesn't seem to be wanting to reveal that last move. But the fact that he hasn't gone for Rest still is even furthering my belief that he doesn't pack it. So I go back to my Lights Out just because it's the best strategy I have so far to deal with this thing. Don't really feel the need to switch up my game plan. And he actually switches out to Marowak, so that was a good switch on his part. I'm just going to go for the Wish, try to get my health back up, obviously. And I decided to switch out and go to my Impact Wolf, my Leafeon, just because being a specially defensive Licky, I definitely did not want to take one of those Earthquakes. And he's going to go for the Fire Punch, perhaps predicting my, either my Leafeon, of course, or my Haunter to come in to get the immunity via Levitation. But even a super effective Fire Punch is not going to do Jack Dilly Balls to my Leafeon, which is going to be good for me. And I'm going to go for the Heal Bell on his switch, The switch was pretty obvious considering that even his super effective move did like nothing, so that's why I went for Heal Bell, although he actually used up his Death Fodder there in Jumpluff. So now he brings in his Regice, the best matchup he has for this Leafeon. It makes sense in retrospect that he used the Death Fodder right there, because who knows if he could have lived 2 Leaf Blades if I was an offensive set, or if I just packed offensive EVs in general. So I decided to trade my life of Leafeon to go for the Toxic, considering that he does still have that Armaldo that has X-Scissor most likely, which would be able to deal with my Leafeon, and I just felt like it was the best play. So I switched out to Mesprit, just go for the U-turn. If he had stayed in, I could have U-turned into Licky Licky. If he switched out like he did, then I was able to get switch advantage going to my Haunter, since the only thing that I'm convinced can handle it is his Regice, obviously. So I go for the Substitute, thinking that he might switch. Even if he doesn't switch, I want to scout to see if he has any move that is able to kill me, considering that I do resist his stabs. But he actually carries Knockoff, and it is a sad day when Knockoff is able to do 25% of your Pokemon's health and break a Substitute. But I guess that is the world Haunter is going to live in, because it's going to get taken out with 2 Knockoffs, 1 to break the sub and 1 to finish the job. But I decided to stay in and go for the Shadow Ball just to get as much damage as possible, considering that Armaldo is a big threat, considering that it can X-Scissor to take care of my Mesprit, and since most Armaldo are physically defensive, it could probably win that 1v1 matchup. So you can see this is kind of sped up here. I went into my Licky Licky just to go ahead and knock off his leftovers, reduce his recovery options, and continuously hit him with Body Slams, thankfully getting the Parahacks. And considering that Rock Slide has a chance of missing and Armaldo can get paralyzed, I'm pretty confident I can win this matchup, even with Rock Slides doing what looks to be a little over a quarter of my HP each turn. And yeah, thanks to a little bit of hacks, although it's not super hacksy considering the probability of those things happening, I am going to go ahead and get back up to full HP and decide to pass a wish off to my Mesprit. The reason I pass a wish off to my Mesprit is I'm convinced he's going to continue going for the Rock Slide. I don't think he has the X-Scissor, or he would have been using it. And I want to be on Mesprit whenever I take out this Armaldo, just because Mesprit is the fastest poke on my team, and I do believe it can kind of perform a little mini sweep here and finish things off for me. Whereas if I stayed in with Licky Licky, who knows what he may or may not have been able to do. I don't know if his Regice's last move is Rest at this point. If it had been, then that would have been a little problematic, etc. But I am just going to be able to finish this off with Mesprit. So that was a pretty good game. I particularly liked the beginning. We both were able to cripple each other's leads, and we made those switches out to our very offensive pokes. And I just thought it was a pretty fun game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. The game's just kind of wrapping up here. My favorite mangaka, obviously, is Ichiro Oda, the person that wrote One Piece, but my second favorite is probably I'm Dao Young, who did Freezing, Unbalanced X Unbalanced, A Flame Inferno, Onihime-verse, and many others. So hopefully you guys have a good day. Like the video if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys later. So yeah, peace out.